Yeah, we here.
Happy
Another Monday. Yeah, man. The third quarter is coming to a close.
Yeah, it's about to get real.
Fourth quarter is amongst us.
That's a fact, man. Ian, you live from Thailand?
That's what we got, man. The memo came over, man. The facts came over and said, yo, I'm sorry, guys. He'll be reporting from Thailand today.
Hey,
can you work with him?
Muay Thai class.
Yeah, real quick. Got to bust a move. So, how was Patrick Mahomes? I know you'll have the post-game interview.
Shout out to Pat, man. Shout out to the Kingdom, Chiefs Kingdom.
Yes. Tell me, you've been a fan since before he got there.
Yes. Yeah, they keep pressing him everywhere we go. But you're like, yo, so how much of a fan are you really? They keep pressing him, man. He's not bending or breaking on that. Shout out to now I'll be honest. Watching greatness up close is always something that you should do. So I don't care how many times we get to. It's a privilege to see guys at this level of greatness. He's incredible, man.
Different.
He's incredible.
Pat Mahomes, the world's greatest, man. 5-0 Chiefs. Yeah,
5? 4.
No, I think they're 5-0.
Gotcha.
So shout out to the Chiefs.
Kelsey still got the MAGA haircut.
Yeah, he got the fade with the mustache. He's off to a slow start, but obviously we saw what happened yesterday.
Right again, the little Taylor juice wearing off. I mean,
yeah,
they winning.
They winning. That's the most important. They lost Rice yesterday. Hopefully, it's not season ending, but yeah, I'm sure his production will pick up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, they told me I shouldn't talk about sports anymore.
Why?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to LA.
Yeah, shout out to Cali. We had a good time out there. Had a good interview that we're gonna be announcing later. But yeah, man. Shout out to the African crew, Alvin, and that we linked with our African crew. Shout out to Keys. Went to his
cooking up, y'all.
Warehouse, I guess. Yeah, manufacturing.
He is cooking up.
We checked out his spot. Shout out to Keys. And we met a lot of great people this weekend, man. Always good to be in LA. Shout out to Mav Carter, educated us on a few things.
Okay.
He texted me back. He finally texted me back.
What'd he say?
He was like, anytime I can help you in arguments with your friends, just let me know.
Shout out to Mav.
Mav that's a funny dude, man. And really, I mean, obviously you can tell just a super intelligent dude in multiple business, obviously sports for sure. And he's another one of those guys, just die hard. They riding and dying for the state of Ohio. So it's Ohio State, it's the Browns, and they're not budging. They're not budging on it.
Yeah, they go hard for
Ohio. They go hard for Ohio.
They make Cameron. Shout out to
the rep for the Midwest.
Shout out to Killer.
Shout out to Columbus.
He's honorary. All right. Well, before we start, big week for EYL. Of course, we got Blackout, the legendary Blackout show Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Set your alarm and let us know who you want to see on Blackout as a guest.
Yeah.
And then also for Thursday. So last week we started a series that we're going to be doing for a couple weeks where we're doing live YouTube lives on different topics. Last week we did real estate with Matt, home buying.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. Very educational.
Fire.
Everything you need to know about buying a home.
Fire.
This week on Thursday at 9 o'clock. So one of the most highly regarded people at InvestFest was X.
Yes.
She spoke about artificial intelligence. I think she was on the panel with Van Jones and Wyclef.
Yep.
Milked it too.
But everybody was saying just how dope she was, how much information she provided, how she actually has an interview with 19 Keys on High Level. If you didn't watch that, you can check it out. But she breaks down artificial intelligence probably better than anybody. She used to work at Google. She's extremely smart and accomplished in the space. So a lot of people have been having questions about artificial intelligence. So this Thursday, we're not only going to break down artificial intelligence, we're going to tell you how you can actually utilize artificial intelligence for your day-to-day life, how you can benefit from it, how you can different career paths for artificial intelligence. We're going to be talking about prompt engineering. We're going to be talking about everything that you need to know. So if you don't know a lot about artificial intelligence, which most people don't, you need to educate yourself on artificial intelligence because it's not going to go away, and it's not going to be something that you can just skirt around. So this is going to be a free education on artificial intelligence. We're going to be answering questions live from the audience. So Man, I don't know how you missed this one. This is probably one of the most important things that we've done in a long time. Really, like, teaching anybody about artificial intelligence, how to use it, how to benefit from it, different career paths, how to get started, answering live questions.
Best tools to use.
Yeah, for sure.
She's incredible. It's it's one of those things when she's on stage and people are texting you as she's speaking, who is this young lady?
Yeah.
It lets you know how important and how vital her information is. And it's the topic of the year. It's going to be the topic of next year as well. It's the only, honestly, it's the only thing like I'm really like focused on studying.
Yeah.
Every chance I get to watch something, I'm watching it, whether it's the AI conversation with Oprah, now the Bill Gates documentary on Netflix. Every chance you get, you should be taking in this information because they're telling you what's happening and what's coming and how to play a role inside of it. We're going to go into depth with X. I'm excited. I'm like excited for this.
So
yeah, she's one of my favorite people. Not only she's smart, but incredibly gracious and kind, and will not gatekeep. Friends with Rance. Like Rance introduced me to her a couple of years ago, and I was like, this genius, like a different level of thinking, and explains it incredibly well. Because a lot of people in AI can't break it down well, but she does a great job of explaining how to use everything. So yeah, please tune in.
Yeah.
Check it out this Thursday, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Ian, any announcements?
Yes. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Stock Club will be on Wednesday. Tune in to Telegram for the time. Let's have an amazing show. And until I get back to the States, unless you wire 20 mil or something, I'm off the grid. No siento.
Off the grid.
See you next year.
off the grid. Troy.
Right.
Yeah. First, rest in peace to the legend, NBA legend, humanitarian legend, Dikembe Mutombo, passed away at 58 of brain cancer today. So rest in peace to him.
Yeah.
And condolences to him, his family, the entire NBA family, the entire human race, because he's done a lot, obviously for the continent, but just for humanity. So rest in peace to him. And you know how this works, man. This is our disclaimer. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you hear on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. This is a message brought to you by the good brothers at Earn Your Leisure and the good brother Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself. Love is love, man. Spread the knowledge, share the knowledge, give credit when you found the knowledge. Love is love.
And then also, rest in peace to Mr. Lopez, pillar in our community.
Absolutely.
Somebody that actually
brought us together.
That's how we met vicariously through him.
Mm-hmm.
So rest in peace to Mr. Lopez. He was one of these guys that, always had teams and always had the young men going different places and playing basketball. And his sons, Tone and Shay, hold your head. But, one of these, pillars in the community, a lot of times is somebody that, coaches teams and gathers people and gives people opportunities. And he was that. And like I said, he's actually the reason why me and Troy met. So rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
To Mr. Lopez, condolences to his family for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just somebody that cared about the youth ever since we known them, and even after, as we grown to be young men and obviously adults in our own right, still looking after the youth, giving back to our local high school. And even when we were doing our program, he was always the first person. If you guys need an internship, send them to me. So rest in peace and condolences to the entire Lopez family.
For sure. Rest in peace to Coach Nicolini from Bishop Knoll. I got that news this weekend too. So. And man, take care of you. Even Dikembe. Dikembe was young, man.
58.
That caught me by surprise. So peace and blessings to everyone, but take care of your health. Check on your family. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So so let's talk about the stock market. That
pink colorway new drop.
No, it's been out. It's been out.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. Get the merch.
Breast cancer awareness next month.
What happened with SMCI stock?
We're gonna be honest. This is what happens when you ask, is this the new Nvidia? After the run up from Nvidia, after Tupac died, they put out the little fake Tupac. Wasn't all eyes on me. I told everybody in Stock Club SMCI this was going to happen. It went from 1,010 down to 418 now. If you made money on the rise, that is amazing. But if you can't tell me, A, what is the profit margin? What is the net operating margin? What advantage do they have over AVGO, Nvidia, AMD, Taiwan Semiconductor? Remember like in 02 when everybody was like trying to make the Blueprint 2 and going to Motown and getting the little soul samples, they were sounding like Hove for like 8 weeks, and then Hove came back out. This is what we have here. So if you are holding SMCI, rule of thumb, if you're ever down 20%, cut your losses, find a place to potentially re-enter. I have them going back down to 298. So that may be a price you want to look to getting back in, but it's not looking good for this kind of for this kind of drop for the foreseeable future for this company.
Yeah, it's been a series of bad events, but I don't think this is a company that's going anywhere. In fact, it was up 170%. Yes, at its peak, it's still up 50% year to date. Here's what's happened since August 7th when it slid 20%. They had to adjust their gross profit margin from 11% when they reported it at 70%. First red flag, right? So the reporting is off.
Why about the numbers?
This all right. Here we go. All right. So then on August 27th, so 20 days later, the Hindenburg report came out that they found glaring accounting red flags, evidence of undisclosed related party transactions, sanctions, and export control failures and customer issues. That had the stock drop again, and then almost maybe about a week ago, we saw the stock drop when Wall Street Journal reported that the Department of Justice was looking into the Hindenburg report. So it dropped 12%. Tomorrow, the stock is going to split 10-1. So it's currently
right in time for the scandal.
where are we trading at right now? About 418. And so 10-1, that brings the value of each share down to about $40, $42. Here's the thing. It does have partnerships. And the number one partnership that it does have is with Nvidia. And when you think about Nvidia, we obviously know that business isn't going anywhere. In fact, it will probably lead the next decade. And obviously, we're going to talk about X when it comes to artificial intelligence and what's after that, maybe artificial super intelligence, which is a topic that hopefully we'll get to talk about. But they partner with them in hardware solutions. And so what does it do? It makes sure that the infrastructure is there for artificial intelligence to perform at a more efficient rate or at a more scalable rate. And so if we're talking about the increase in artificial intelligence, we're talking about the GPUs that are going to be provided for these data centers, you can see how they're going to be moving in the future if they're paired with this company. Does this company go away? No. Was it overvalued? Perhaps, yes.
Absolutely.
10-1 split, it has fallen. And these are some of the metrics that we like if we're talking about investing. Has the equity itself pulled back to a percentage that we like? Now, your percentage was 40%. I like it at 30. Has it done that? Yes. If I'm in the options market and I'm looking into that, if the equity fell 30 to 40%, that means we multiply that by 1.5. Let's say that the options strike price that you're looking at has probably fallen maybe 50 to 60%. Is that something that you like inside that market? Yes. Now, does the company have sustainability? Well, that's when you have to do the deep dive. You have to start looking at some of the fundamentals and say, all right, this is a company that I still want to invest in because it's at a point where it's pulled back and it will rebound. That's the question that we have to answer individually. I think yes. I don't know if it gets back up to 1,000, but we've seen plenty of analysts, they've downgraded it, but the price target is still about an average of 590 to 610. And so if we're looking at it here at 41, obviously cost adjusted, when it splits, it'll be down to 41, and that would just make it 65.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll be more affordable. Yeah,
right, more affordable, which leads more people to saying if it's more affordable at that price, usually retail investors start looking into it a little bit differently. I still like it. I don't know at what point because we don't know if this is the floor yet, but I still like the company.
It's not.
I still like the company. Do you still like the company?
Tweet about it now. I hope you get it later. Do a couple splits. Hope you ninjas are saving up. Okay, if they were returning at the same rate Nvidia was, but their profit margin was 8%, while Nvidia was at 45%, why are they giving the same rate of return?
Well, they're not giving that partnership. Obviously, has just been announced. The split was already announced before the fall.
Yep.
They announced the split,
but if they knew,
then once they announced the split, now it's glaring. Now it's like eyes are on this company.
Yep.
3 years ago, nobody was talking about them. This year, we run up 177%. Now it's like, oh, this is a can't miss. Now there's a pullback. It feels like we've seen this play before, where it's like, all right, retail investors, they're coming to this space.
Not to cut you off, but
well, you know how this works.
Yeah.
Right. Let's run this up. Let's pull the rug. Let's reassess this. Let's let it drop down to a point where we can add more to it. Even in Nvidia, right? It was up at 135. It fell down to 97. Does that change the fundamentals of the company? No.
But if we're talking about the fundamentals,
I know, but you're going to go to the profit. I know you're going to the profit margins. We have to see. It's just like what I said with anything in AI. We have to see, is the cost worth it? And so we'll see. We'll see how this plays out, because Supermicro is such a new entity over the past 2 to 3 years. It's the only time we've been talking about it, obviously, since the AI revolution. So we'll see. We got to see where this plays out.
Shout out to all y'all who was mad at me over Nvidia and said I ain't call SMCI, and you thought you was me calling this, and you didn't call it downside. Call the top and bottom. Pause. The profit margin is 8%. This is the hottest fucking sector on earth. And for every $100 that comes in, you're keeping 8 and you're relying about the 17.
Well, they said it was 17 and it was really 11. So we'll see what happens this quarter. They're going to report shortly.
Listen, when Frank Lucas had his premium product, he didn't put it on sale.
So
it's quality product like Pepsi.
What number? I mean, Nvidia at 48 is ridiculous, right? It's tough to do that. What number would you say, okay, this makes sense? Is it anything above 20%? Or is it
a drop for Nvidia?
No. I'm saying for profit margins for Supermicro.
They at least got to get to 20%.
Okay.
You got to ask, they're in the AI space. You're giving 8% return, 11 if you believe the numbers. Lilly's have a better profit margin than you in a more regulated business.
Well, the expenditure has to go up, right, with the new partnership.
Especially after you lie about the numbers. I'm not moving off that point.
I can't knock you on that.
Y'all made off the books and then still underperformed.
I'm not knocking you on that. I'm not knocking you on the fabricated numbers. What I'm saying, expenditures will go up when you have a partnership
you have to
with the leading person in the space, right? There's gonna be more output. So that could be tied into it. We'll see. We get to watch this out in real time.
That's Walmart's going out of business. So all of you kept asking, how can I easily read the stats? Go to Barron's or Yahoo Finance, scroll to the bottom. But if you look, operating cash flow negative 2.4 billion. Diluted EPS is 20.1. Net income averaged 1.2. Like, the numbers are just off for this space. This would be the equivalent of me selling a brownstone in Harlem for 300. It makes no sense to price it here.
Okay.
It makes no sense. But kudos to management. Y'all gotta slow cook the books the next time.
More accurate reporting.
It's close to 17 to 15, not bad, but 17 to 11. I know y'all in the fabrication business, but they didn't mean on the financials, y'all. My Lord. Operating margin 6.47. What?
Is okay. So let's talk about Palantir. Nvidia is a stock that went up obviously a lot over the last couple of years. A lot of people have been looking for the next Nvidia. So is Palantir the next Nvidia?
I said it with Apple. I said it with Microsoft. There is no new X. I know people want it to be. And I've never seen so many black and brown people be excited about the enslavement of themselves for a 3X return. Elon, go make a LaMaga coin if that's the case. I think it's going to be a great company with a troubled timeline forever. But do I think they'll give the gains of Nvidia? No. Will we always be in war? Yes. Is their software incredibly important to what? This is like Blackwater at scale with tech. Okay, I get it. But they're not Nvidia. A lot of the GDP of the country is tied to what Nvidia is doing. So do I think they'll be a power player? Yes. But do I think they'll end up having the same return as Nvidia? No. Mm-mm. And don't believe me. Didn't the CEO just offload a whole bunch of shares when it hit them highs?
Yeah, I think this is a hardware versus software application.
Yep.
In layman's terms, one is fundamentally essential and one is something that is nice to have.
Yeah.
Right? Palantir being something nice to have. Even in that space, are they number one? Do they have the growth potential? You can see, obviously, we talked about it last week when we're talking about who's backing them, and obviously U.S. contracts have played a large role in that.
Yep.
But you can see with the technology, would the U.S. feel comfortable with Palantir working with other foreign entities?
And at some point, you got to make a little derivative software to sell off to Xi Jinping at some point.
So even from the global scalability, you have to look into that. But yeah, I think one obviously, if we're talking about AI and Palantir's role is to create software applications to help the functionality and security of AI, whereas the fundamental purpose of NVIDIA is to create the chips to make sure that this whole structure can be powered. So difference in that, I don't see the growth potential as much in them. Still a solid company. I think top 2 or 3 in the space of cybersecurity, for sure. But yeah, I mean, you got competitors. You got competitors. Whereas we know in the definitely in the semi space, the closest competitors is there's a large distance between 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And they moved the economy. And on top of that, NVIDIA has no close competitor per se. And going back to that profit margin, everybody put in chat, what's the profit margin for Palantir? Everyone keeps asking all these in-depth ass questions about what's the formula post-invest fest. What is the profit margin?
How much money are they making?
Yes, that shit matters, whether you like to believe it or not.
For every dollar spent, we got to put that part in, right? For every dollar spent, how much do they make?
Yes. You can't do that counting in an Excel sheet like our homie used to do. So, shout out to Adam. Is that no jumper page back up on IG yet? I don't know.
His page got taken down?
Thursday went down.
For what?
I went looking and I said, no jumper, nothing. Damn.
What happened?
Technical difficulties.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Poor guy.
You
gonna send that apology or no to Oprah?
Oh man.
To be a vulture and then need an apology is wild, y'all. It's great times we live in.
What a time.
What a time to be alive.
That's a fact. Okay, let's talk about stock options. So you want to talk about MU?
Yeah, man.
He was on Micron early.
Yeah, we've been talking about the space for so long, and like I said, the past 2 or 3 months, man, I've just been really focused on where the space is going. Obviously, we know from the GPU standpoint, but you know that surrounding economy of the data centers. You keep hearing it. I'm gonna keep saying it so that we can keep being more informed. But Micron is one of these companies. I said all these infrastructures need to have some fundamental things, storage being one of them, right? Yeah. In order for this to work, they have to compute, right? They have to get the information, they have to hoard the information, and they have to learn from the information. That all needs to take place fundamentally in a spot, in a space, and that storage base is vital for that. iCloud storage, but definitely data storage as well. So it's like, well, what are the companies that are going to be leading that? And you start stumbling down that rabbit hole of where can you find it, and then boom, if you look at the top of the list, Micron's up there. I gave two others in our class 2 weeks ago, and it pulled back at its last earnings. You know, people were like, "It's good enough." It became. I felt like last quarter's earnings reports became, "This is good, but is it good enough?" Right? Yeah. Are they going to meet expectations? And so when you see NVIDIA report and it pulls back, when you see Meta report, numbers are good, it still pulls back. Micron reports was good enough, and then finally it reported this quarter, and those things changed. It finally was like, okay, their future guidance is promising. AI is still the prevalent story. They're going to be part of this story, and they could be leading in the space of storage. And so Micron is something that, you know, like I said, we've been talking about probably for like 2.5 months. We found our price points. Again, that strategy I just told you about, did the asset depreciate, right? Did the option call depreciate? as the asset depreciates, we go lower on our strikes. The whole strategy. Shout out to everybody in EYLU that was sending me text messages of their percentages gain. Yeah. Incredible. The timing worked out perfectly, and you're still up going into the fourth quarter. So shout out to everybody that was in Micron. We're still going to tell about this story, and there's some more other companies. I'm glad because I looked at the sheet today for what we're going to be talking about, and connectivity is part of the story that we're going to be talking about today. So this ecosystem inside data centers is something that is going to be the forefront of 2025, 2026. We got to make sure that we know the companies that we can take advantage of and investing in. And also, if people are in that space, start innovating in.
What percentage do you like to get the option in?
20%. Man. So I always look for a depreciated option call. So most people look at the assets depreciating, meaning like if it was at 130, it went down to 110.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a percentage drop, right? So like I'll look at that, but then I'll also look at how much the option call itself has dropped, and that will depreciate as well. And so I like to get them between 30 to 40. If I get over 40, I'm really happy. And that happened with Micron. And so
that's a gem in itself. Hold on. Write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the upside is even better, right? So like in a day, right, we get it down at 90, earnings comes back. It's incredible. I know some people like to play on earnings calls. Not the safest thing to do. But some people do it. And this is one of those times I'm like, it had depreciated to a point where I'm like, there's going to be the upside is right around the corner. I'm just looking at the charts. And the signals were all pointing for an incredible earnings. Obviously, we saw what happened last week. Jumped up 11%. Stock went from 97 up to 113. And so that depreciated asset, that depreciated option call, I think one of mine jumped over 300% in 24 hours. Yeah. Which is like, I mean, you show me another space that you get 300% in 24 hours, and I'd like to sign up for it. But this is when you stick to your strategy, you're dedicated, you're disciplined to it. These are the type of returns you can get. So again, shout out to everybody that was able to execute on that.
SMCI, that's how you get high returns without lying about your numbers.
Well, so like that's now it's setting up, right? So like once we start to see that trend starting, we'll see over the next 3 weeks after a stock split, we'll start to see how is the stock moving, right?
Okay, great question. You have 300% now, but if it falls back to what level, where would you take profit? Is it 100%? Is it 200? Is it 80?
Yeah, we take 100%. Once it hits 100%, initial profit comes out.
Gotcha. Talk about it last week.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Once I get 100%, all right, well, now I know, again, I bought 10 contracts. I got my 100%. Let's get the 100% of the money back out. And now we'll assess as we go. If it gets to 200, 300%, I have a feeling that it'll go. And some of them, one of the calls is out to 26. So think about that. Like we're out to January 2026. Yeah. We're talking in present day, not even October, September of 24. And so that there's so much time built into the equity in the option. It's like, all right, let's just ride this wave.
So in this when you run into Dunkin' or you getting Starbucks?
To be determined.
America runs on Dunkin'.
Runs on Dunkin', that's a fact. So talk about artificial intelligence, how to use artificial intelligence to trade options, since we're doing artificial intelligence masterclass on Thursday at 9:00. Check it out. You talked about that before, but talk about how you can utilize artificial intelligence.
Yeah, man, it's very interesting. We've been saying this for it's about a year now, right?
Yeah, crazy.
We did Market Mondays Live last October.
Yeah.
And I told people, yes, you can use ChatGPT as a search engine. You can use it for information, but more importantly, you can use it to make trading more efficient. And one of the things when we put it in ChatGPT was like, before this, they didn't even have it yet, but it was able to translate data, right? I can put in Word documents and it can summarize them for me. So what I started doing was, okay, earnings season happens at the end of every quarter, right? Multiple companies. And if my portfolio has 11 companies, I got to read 11 earnings reports plus try to listen to the earnings call, or I can make this more efficient.
Yeah.
At the time, Anthropic, Claude version 2 was the only one that had Word documents. Obviously, ChatGPT 4.0 has it now. But I would take the earnings reports, throw them in there, translate. All right, what are analysts saying? Like, and I heard somebody say this the other day. analysts are paid. So like all these financial institutions, they pay analysts to do the research to give out these numbers. Now, some of them are obviously swaying things in their directions to favor the company. But if I get 60 analysts and I get an average price, then I know where I should be looking at. This is the price range. If I know nothing and they are ChatGPT or Claude can give me an average of what analysts are saying, I know that's the ballpark I need to be in. Obviously, I'm going to have my own education, put my own spin on it, but at least I know that's the ballpark. So now I can translate information within a minute without having to go, hey, I need 25 minutes to read this. I can't even understand this. Yeah. And I could tell it the key points I'm looking for. So when you're talking about what's the net profit, well, boom, tell me the net profit.
It's really quickly,
it's really quick. And in the option space, now I'm looking at like, what is a good strike price, let's say out to January 2026? What's the growth potential of this company? And it'll tell you the future guidance. And so when we're talking about AI in the sense of making things more efficient in the workspace, no, in the education space is where it's going to change. And that could be in financial education. I know Bill Gates talked about it. He said healthcare and education are two spaces where it is going to change things fundamentally. This is financial education. If people are being paid to do the work, you don't have to do the work. Use artificial intelligence to make your job more efficient, to make it easier, more streamlined, and you can get information at the drop of your fingertips. I won't call it a cheat code, but it is a healthy, helpful assistant.
Absolutely. And if you use O1 Mini, even for futures, if you can export the data and just tell them what the high and low is, you can ask them where is the worst place to take this trade. Same on the chain. If you export the data, upload it to O1, say, hey, based on a mathematical percentage, I want to get in 0 to 15% from the low. What's the best place for me to get in and where I should stop trading? It'll give you the numbers.
Good. And that, the best thing about these chat GPTs or these GPTs is that they learn you.
Yeah.
Right. So like his chat GPT, if I ask it the same question, won't give me the same response.
Yeah.
Right. Because it knows I'm looking for a little bit different information. He's looking for a little bit different. His questions might be more in depth. Mine might be more technical. And so it'll respond. The way you ask it, it will start to learn the patterns. And the more you ask it, the information is just going to be right. It becomes more in depth, more technical. And if you want to, it could be more fundamental. But it just based on how you're asking the questions. So again, it's a great tool. Great tool.
Yeah, and it helps take the emotion out of it too. Like if you just take a data set for the last 5 years of pricing, what are 3 good entries to be able to get in long term or short term or swing trade? It takes the emotion out of
its sole purpose is to learn.
Yeah. Yep.
Learn and then learn and then learn again and create and learn again and then have the answers, the prompts.
For all my traders, though, since Sam Altman kicking everybody off the board, you need to be careful with your IP because I know most of y'all sell yours away, but wait till, one of them GPTs remix your TV shows and podcast ideas. So be careful.
So, okay. So how should you how could somebody ease their family into investing without overwhelming them?
We get this question a lot. My thing is, if you really want to help your family in investing and they are afraid to do so, take some of your money. That's what I did. Put it into VOO, Apple, Microsoft, give them the money. And then after that, they'll find a way to make money for you or make some money to give to you. I think too often times we want people to go through the hardships that we went through in learning. They may not have the excitement. And truth be told, a lot of times if our family does not want to learn, it's because they haven't seen you have the return or rewards from actually doing the thing. So I would take a percentage of my own money, put it away for them. Same with life insurance. Like you're doing life insurance for somebody else to benefit from. Take a percentage of the money from your business or your job, invest it for them for a 3 or 4 year period. Give it to them. After that, they'll believe. Have them tune in to Market Mondays. And I know it's not the answer that you guys may want, but it's the one that works the best. People need to see fruits from the labor. They don't want to go out and plant a whole bunch of trees for themselves, especially if they're older. And at a time whenever they planted those trees for themselves, a bank found a way to take them away.
Yeah. It's a tough proposition. 19 Keys said this to me once. He was like, the people closest to the sun are the ones who were mostly blinded by it. I was like, what you mean? He was like, well, the people who are closest to you, they'll take it for granted. And so like the best way to go about things is just lead by example and keep leading by demonstration. So I agree with what you're saying, Ian, is show them the results, continuously show them the results. After a while, they'll believe in what you're doing and it'll start to create more confidence in what they can potentially do because they've seen it done firsthand. But a lot of times the people around you are the ones who are like, oh, he's doing great. He's doing great and never taking the action. So it's a battle to have people build up their courage. Even if you put money in, I've done that before. I've put money in accounts and that money just sits there. And so it's just one of those things, man. You have to be patient with the process, and you have to be understanding that everybody's learning curve is different. And hopefully, if you keep leading by example and you keep leading by demonstration and you keep showing results, people will want the same for themselves.
Yeah, you got to just do it for them. I know it's not the easiest solution always, and you can give the money. I've given it to a family member. They've blown it.
Who's on the list of who you should do it for?
Mom, dad, grandma, great auntie, kid. Like if you my cousin,
You're like, when did we cut this off?
Tune in to Market Mondays, my boy. I appreciate you. See you at the family cookout that we're not gonna have. So I'm gonna be in Mexico. I'll chat GPT you some links. Start with the Mark Cuban episode. I got you, but yeah, not many. Shotty, who you investing for? Keith Sweat. Nobody, ain't it? I feel you.
No.
Listen, hey, if we give you enough advice, it's crazy. Next year, like when we say go back and look at 5 years, next year, the starting point should be the show. You have no excuse. You have no excuse.
Man, shout out to everybody. You want to answer that?
Answer what?
He said, who would you trade for?
I mean, I invest for my son.
That's where it cuts off?
I don't know if that's what cuts off, but I mean, that's what I've invested for. That's the only person I've invested for.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to say shout out to everybody who actually has executed on information, because I don't want to like look those people over, because that happens a lot. That happens a lot. People like, yo, we had that happen in LA about, look, that information, I used it. I made tons of money. I made a lot of money, changed my life. That happens all the time. So shout out to everybody that is executing on it. But 5 years is a long time for you to miss the information and not execute.
He tweeting the leaders.
Tweeting the leaders.
So,
and we still here.
Well, we got a question from the audience. Somebody said, what would be your strategy for newly acquired wealth? I recently inherited 25 million and would love your insight.
A, congrats to you. B, I wouldn't tell anybody outside of 3 or 4 people. Please play broke. People are not going to have your best interests at heart. But I would take probably 10 to 15% of that, put it into long-term equities, hyper concentrate on 4 to 5 stocks, VOO, VTI, Apple, Microsoft are 4 of my favorites. And then I would take another 10 to 15 and find a way to get into private equity. If you can get into Starlink before it goes public, great. I don't know if OpenAI is still raising capital at this valuation. It may be too pricey, but I will find you 3 or 4 good investments on a private equity side and put some money there. And you need to build a great team around you, because I know 25 million is a lot, but a lot of people will find to get a lion's share of the money from you if you don't manage it correctly. So don't tell anybody. Lifestyle creep is going to be very hard to avoid, but stay away from that for the first 3 or 4 years so you can kind of play low key. And find you 4 investments on a public equity side you can invest in, and 4 on a private equity side, and you'll be good. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the team actually be the first thing I would do. I would definitely hire, when you have that level of wealth, now you're in a different level. Yeah. And it's not advisable to try to do everything yourself. So definitely having an estate planning attorney to make sure that you have, a proper trust, proper will, navigate different things. You want to have a really good tax CPA team in place to make sure that you're mitigating taxes and how to best shield yourself from that. That's important. Even on the wealth management side, even if you invest yourself, you still might want to have, a wealth management team that's looking over different things, giving input, giving you suggestions. I think that's important.
Eyes is key. Yep.
Of course, you pay off debt if you have any debt, whether that's a mortgage that you have or, you try to stay out of debt. I think that's important. I would probably invest at least half of that money, assuming that if she didn't have to pay any, or he or she didn't have to pay any taxes on that, have they received that money. But just hypothetically, if they just got 25 million, I would definitely put at least half of it into the market, into, relatively safe investments, index funds, stuff like that. Because, you don't necessarily have to take risk. If you have $10 million invested, if you gain 10% a year, that's $1 million. That's $1 million a year. So, you don't want to be too risky with it, because that is an amount of money that you could actually lose. But you could lose it as well if you take too much risk. So I would definitely allocate at least half of the money into like safe investments. And then, like you said, from there, it's a matter of just seeing how you can expand it. So angel investing VC is definitely would be beneficial for sure. You just want to be careful with that, because you can lose all of your money if you do it incorrectly. Real estate, I think, you start to think about the real estate play. You're probably going to buy yourself a new house. So, that's going to be a chunk of the money, depending on what size house you want. But you can, if you're interested in real estate, that's another avenue that you can start investing in real estate. You can start partnering up and do different real estate developments, different things of that nature. So, and then of course, business. If you have an idea yourself, then you can, work to fund business that you're passionate about, that you think you can scale, or you can partner with other people that already have ideas and come in and provide some equity, some money for equity. So that's another more hands-on approach, as opposed to just being an angel investor. You can, be a potential business partner with somebody that has an existing business or somebody that has a business idea. So, but I think it's all rooted in just being safe. So at least 50% you got to be safe. You can't just, but after that, like I said, you got to invest money to make money. So, those are the ways to make money, really. Real estate, stocks, businesses.
Yeah, you gotta have the capital work for you. VO gave 23% last year, but I'm begging you, be quiet about what you have.
Important.
It's a supply chain of people who want to take consultants, advisors, family. Now you have more children to watch over your money.
But then also it's a thing of relationships too. So that's another thing. The money can actually give you more access to different places. Like we just interviewed somebody last week who's extremely wealthy, and he was just talking about all the companies that he invested in. It's all through relationships. He's a very well-known person, so he has a different way to get relationships. People know who he is, but that's another thing too, is use your money to get into relationships. So you get this money and you might want to buy a membership at a top country club, right? Or be intentional about the neighborhood that you move into.
Matters.
If your kids go to school, then send them to a private school and go to the parent teachers meetings, stuff like that, like PTA, be part of PTA. Like a lot of the wealth is going to come through the people that you know.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that already, then becoming wealthy can put you in different situation, but you have to be intentional about fostering relationships with people that can actually put you in positions to win. So yeah, that's important too. Money buys access a lot of times, and it's about how to position it intelligently so you can actually change your circle of influence and be around people that are already at a high level.
Yeah, and make sure you're at peace with yourself too. Don't go buying every retro J you couldn't afford as a kid, and that priest with 28. So I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, after your first year, you can't. Like,
yeah.
I remember you said that to me maybe like 15 years ago now about, what's the number? Get to 10 million and then invest in an index. Conservatively, if you made 3%, you've made 300,000.
Yeah.
If you can't live off 300,000 when you've made 115 most of your life, what are you doing? You did something wrong. But like you said, there's some years when it's 22%.
Yeah.
Right? Like you invest in an index and now if you invested that 10 million, now you've made 2.2.
How the money work for you?
You see what I'm saying? Even and if you've had it as a long-term investment, now the capital gains tax is much less. So it's 20% as opposed to whatever, 30-something%. So there's ways.
But it really comes down to relationships.
That's true too.
That's the most important aspect of building wealth, I think, because everybody who you know is going to determine how much money you can get. There's a ceiling. You can have 25 million, move to Nebraska and just invest in index funds.
What's up with you in Nebraska, yo?
Shout out to Terrence Crawford.
Shout out to Nebraska.
Shout out to Bud Crawford, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you could just live in a rural area and you could still be wealthy, and that wealth will grow. The wealth will grow over the course of time. How you invest it, it definitely you'll if you live properly, you'll never have to worry about money ever again the rest of your life. But if you really want to accelerate to
there we go.
Now it's your relationships are going to determine that. It's not so much unless you're just a complete wizard and you can just turn 20 million to 600 million from savvy investing, but most people are not that talented. They're not that talented. So it really comes down to your relationships. That's why all the rich people live in the same area for the most part. That's why so many rich people live in Miami. So many rich people live in LA. So many rich people live in New York. There's a lot of rich people that live in Texas, whether it's Dallas, Houston, not by accident. Yeah. It's proximity. They have commonality, but they go to lunch together. They go to dinner. They in the same country club. They play tennis together. They play squash together. And even somebody else that we met this weekend, had dinner with, and he was talking about the relationships that he had with different restaurant owners and stuff like that. He knew people for like 20 years and they helped. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. Like you got to put yourself in situations where money attracts money. It's like anything, right? Like if you're around a bunch of broke people, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be broke. If you're around a bunch of rich people, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be rich. So that's just the harsh reality of life. The relationships that you cultivate is going to mean more than anything else. And then they have to see value in you to keep their relationship meaningful. Yeah. But that's really like the trick. That's like the trick to life. If you can find a way to really get in those type circles and foster a relationship and add value, I mean, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, your learning curve is expedited. When he was talking about the conversation about meeting people and networking people, he's like his original goal was to make $60,000 25 years ago. And after he did it, he got around people. He started making deals. He realized at one point, like, I know how to make money. I could do that any day. I can make money any day. Now it's like, what am I going to be remembered for? What's my legacy going to be? Yeah. Like, it's not even a financial number anymore. It's like, these are the things that we're doing. How are we going to leave this earth? I'm like, that's a point to get to. It's like making money is easy. Once you know how to make it, you'll always know how to make it.
But even in the Market Wizards book, if you look at some of the best traders like in Japan, going back to that relationship point, it was like one piece of intel that they picked up from a person in a meeting, used that as arbitrage. Like all the market wizards, like they either work together, knew Marty, like it's a small little fraternity ecosystem. So like the idea of being a lone wolf, of you just being in your room, holding your life away, and then you're going to end up selling to Sequoia. Like it does not happen like that. It does not happen like that. So continue to build. I think the relationship return on investment is something we haven't talked about enough. I think next year we may need to start to quantify because that probably will give you your highest return on investment. And LaRusso, you hear Troy said Rashad gave him that advice 15 years ago.
Was it 15? Probably more than that.
Why? What did he say about that?
No, same, Lil. I'm learning to respond to the responses.
Are they questioning his financial prowess?
I'm like, listen, if we can talk numbers, boy, y'all.
You're talking to his longest tenured client.
It's like, what?
Okay.
So what is the trading tip of the week?
This is what I want you guys to do. Whether you're trading options, futures, whatever you trade, every Monday, I want you to upload your trades to IG, tag me in them. And you know what we should do next month? We should start reviewing the trades here on the show. One of my biggest tips to give you an edge is to record or have someone watch you. Not enough of you, I think, are doing that. So I think one way to help will be to do some live trade review breakdowns. So tag me in your trades, put them in your stories, send them to me directly, keep them under 1 minute. But I think one thing that helped me get incredibly well, I've told the story before, like in 2016, I shout out to my guy Suresh. Like every Friday, I would have to show my trading report, my live trades to him. And that had a hell of an impact on me being better, because then I had to start to make better decisions. So if you have not hit your stride in trading, I think it will help you a lot to post your trades online, tag me in them, and then we'll review them here once a week. And I can give you some insight on what you did right or what you did wrong. But I think you have to be publicly accountable with your trades if you're not doing well. And also back to that tip of using ChatGPT, take the high and the low of the day, take whatever the midline is or like the middle range, and put those numbers in the ChatGPT and have them tell you to give your entry. You can literally say, what should my stop loss be? I only want to risk 4.5% of my account. I want my return to be 58%. Where should I enter? So use the data to be able to help you to get better trades. But none of it matters if you're not doing so publicly.
Facts.
This is all facts.
Facts.
Literally, and you can put every brokerage you want in there.
Absolutely.
Tell me the average.
Like, they let you export the data so fast now. It's like you gotta, even here, like in broadcasting, I had to show it week after week and get better. I went back and watched like episode 5 or episode 8 last. I was like, oh my god, lighting terrible, saturation terrible, like mic terrible. But then you learn and you get better, and as a result, so in trading, I think learning how to do multiple things, like you just brought up, having a great relationship, providing alpha, multiple broadcast, like there's an art to it, but you have to get great at one thing and then build upon it. But I don't think if you're publicly accountable, I don't think you can be good. I really don't. So
how many trades are you taking in a month?
Now probably 8, bro. I'm not even like, if I get a clean 6 to 8, I'm cool.
Selective.
You have to be. I think if we look at, okay, so Buffett's long-term formula, 5 stocks, hyper concentrate on them. For me, it was 2 tech, 2 index. And running a media company, like how many shows in history are hit shows out of every one that you do? I think everything's about selection of quality over quantity. It's fun in the beginning just to throw a whole bunch of stuff on the wall, but it's like, what's really working? Then we put all the money, and as the money scales, same as we said with the person that has a 25, you have to be really selective in what you pick. That goes to partnerships, relationships, networking, locations you'll go. I think less is more. Less is really the multiplier. So when people always say diversify a whole bunch, it's like, okay, well, Sam, most of his wealth came from OpenAI, Jensen from Nvidia. You don't see him. Well, he wrote his first deal in the Denny's and he bought 22 Denny franchises. No, he OpenAI, Nvidia. You guys earn your leisure. Me, Red Panda. Like, you have to hyper concentrate. So I think the fewer trades you do, the better, and it causes a lot less stress.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8. That's a lot. That's
yeah.
You gotta, like, it becomes obsessive with the information, just trying to find as much as possible before you make the decision. And so trying to do that for 8 companies is,
and that's the hard part. But on the future side, but I'm still doing bonds, ES, NASDAQ.
Yeah.
But I haven't really moved out of that matrix. And plus, there's not a bunch of quality. And I know we talk about return on trade or return on capital, but we also don't talk enough about the negatives. Like, if you get down 45% to get back confident, you really need a trade that pays off 320, 330%. So it's like, no, just wait, be flat for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till you have a trade that you know you'll win. And I think I'll put that in as well. Don't take a trade unless you know for sure you're going to win.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Confidence is important. I like you said that.
Absolutely.
If you only could use one trade indicator, what would it be?
That's a great question. I'm going to give you a caveat and be very honest. Never going to tell, but I will say quantitative easing. Y'all keep trying to get this out of me. And you almost got it at InvestFest. See, if you didn't go to InvestFest, I gave a level I never gave before. Shout out to you, who made me give up one magical number. But quantitative easing and rates are incredibly important. We'll talk about how the year will end in a little bit, but I think how much money is being poured into the markets does have an impact for sure. So that's a macro indicator. Now, if you use EMA, great. For those of you who like RSI 95.5, I've learned to help add to the creation and not create. Not critique. Yes. But my real setting, I'll probably never tell. I gotta wait till I'm like 80 or something like that to get it away. So
I'll give you the 2022 Ian answer, the 72-day EMA.
Yeah, thank you. Teamwork. Power relationship. Thank you.
Go. Yeah, let's use
EMA.
Yeah, let's use that.
But if you go to InvestFest, I gave I think 8 levels where you should have been there. If you weren't, get the replay, investfest.com. If you're Red Panda, the replay is there. Thank you. Thank you guys. But yeah, you have more than enough ways to get into the market.
If you're beginning and you're still paper trading, I would use EMA. I would use
absolutely
10, 50, 100, 200. And then obviously use 70, but then I would just scale out and just look. And you can see the trends of the company. And then I always like to use Bollinger Bands. I think it's super helpful just to see the deviation of highs and lows, and to see how a company's moving. So those I would say moving average, and then but definitely for beginners, understanding how Bollinger Bands will move with the ebb and flows of the highs and the lows, support and resistance of a company. Yeah, and those are two that are solid.
And it's a thing that I kept learning. I picked this up from you guys as well, Ryan and Yomi, because I'll ask them like, what should you shoot with? They're like, whatever you're going to use. It's more important what indicator are you going to use and stick with. You can use a golden cross, like if a 20-period moving average goes to a 50, you go long. If it goes through on the bottom side, you short. But sometimes we want more. It's like, great, you can get a Raptor in red and put it together with a black. It's like, what are you going to use the most? Stick with that. So
do what works for you.
Absolutely.
No, it's a fact.
Stand on your own too.
Okay, so September didn't have the traditional pullback that it usually has when it comes to the market. So will there be one before the end of the year?
There was one today. That's what I'm saying. Like the market if you don't see a big pullback on a daily or weekly chart, go to said at InvestFest Una Hora. Go to the 1 hour chart. You're gonna see a pullback somewhere. You mean to tell me if the S&P has 500 stocks in it, the Russell 2000 has 2,000. If you scan through, you can make a scanner on Charles Schwab or Yahoo Finance. You won't find one stock that doesn't pull back 5 or 10%. It's there. We had a little pullback today, but the thing is, when you do have those pullbacks where you take advantage of them, that's what's most important. And here's another thing: even with them not calling this a recession, and with the September pullback not happening because of rates, which tells us who's going to win the election. I think they're making it more difficult to recreate the trades of 07 and 08 all over again. They gave us COVID. We knocked that out of the park. I don't think they want as many retail investors in the market, so I don't think the signals are going to be the same. I don't think we're going to get as deep of a crash as we did before, and if they do, they'll be short-lived. That's the one thing I will agree with for sure, Troy, on SMCI. Since we haven't had this much of a value discount on a stock in a long time, it's going to rise pretty quickly when it takes off. The same with Alibaba. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but Baba has done pretty well over the last couple of weeks as a result. But I don't think the greater powers that be want us to have a replicatable model of 2008 or 2020 again.
Yeah.
Every crisis is going to be different.
I feel like we've had some pullbacks. We saw in different sectors, right? Like we saw the semis pull back in August. Obviously, we saw what happened with cybersecurity when CrowdStrike in August. And in September, we saw some pullbacks. They just haven't been sustainable. Even 2 weeks ago when we saw NVIDIA, actually coming out of InvestFest or leading into InvestFest, we saw NVIDIA fall down to 102.
Absolutely.
97. mid-September it got back down to 105. And so we've seen these pullbacks. It just hasn't been sustainable, like we have in September's in the past probably 3 to 4 years. But there's a lot that goes into that. The Fed rate definitely played a role in the catalyst to make sure that didn't happen. And we'll see in October. October is one of those months. Traditionally, has been decent. On average, I think that the Dow has moved, 0.7%. Positive side, NASDAQ about maybe 1%. So there's going to be some choppy orders. But we said, obviously there's an election coming up. That'll play a role. But toward the tail end of October, we should start to see where we're going to move going toward the year's end. November has always traditionally been the best month.
Yeah, it's going to be a great month.
We've said this for the past 5 years. November's been a great month, and we're right here. So those September pullbacks that we saw, great time to take advantage to see the benefits in November, and then lead into the end of the year, the Christmas rally. So we're not out the neck of the woods yet. There should be some more choppy water, but it's promising leading into November that we didn't have it for a fall in September.
And I don't want to be this arrogant to say it, but we're here. I want to do some research and see how much of an impact we're having post InvestFest. Because a lot of those fears went away after, for sure, this year. But last year, I'm seeing a nice incline the 2 weeks after. So maybe we can have Frank or somebody on verify this data to see if, there's been an impact had while we're talking about metrics.
Yeah, the metric I would love to see is retail investor confidence.
That would be a great one.
I think overall, the sentiment when we speak to people outside, yes, they've had trades that maybe it didn't work.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I'm closing my brokerage account, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Oh, but the long term, they're not even at this point. It's amazing. They're not even worried about what to do.
It's
I give it 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, all right. I got into a new position. I still believe in the company. That belief is there. That confidence is growing. We obviously saw the numbers of people that from our community that are now opening brokerage account, which is super encouraging. There's a change. There's a change. I like that. We should look into that.
Yeah. I do want to ask you guys a question. You don't have to reveal who you interviewed this week, but how long did it take you to build that relationship? And post interview, what do you think the return on that relationship potentially could be? When Rashad and Troy get in their stories.
Oh, 2 years?
Yeah, probably like 2 years.
2 or 3.
2 or 3 years.
Years. Not weeks.
For one interview, right?
One interview. Yeah. We this interview was
time, man. This
interview actually has multiple layers because there's some stories that have happened during our journey when we were trying to get to this interview. But nothing happens before it's time, and sometimes relationships need to nourish them, and then that's the right. The time has to be right. Where they're at in their own world needs to be right. Where they're at financially, mentally has to be right. So you never rush these things, but what you do is just keep doing the work. Yeah, keep doing the work. Right. You don't want to fall off because it's like, oh yeah, that's why I didn't do it. I knew these guys wouldn't be here. So just being consistent, doing the work, and making relationships with other people. Because like when we did the interview, we found out that there were some relationships that were there that we knew of, but we didn't even realize how strong they were. Which is interesting too. Yeah.
How do you stay patient throughout that without being frustrated? Because I mean, it's easy to say, 2 years, it's not that long, but it's like, no, some interviews can make or break you, but can you tell us how, like, while you're building that relationship, how do you stay patient while being consistent?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to realize that you can't put all your eggs in one basket. So you just got to keep working. Like, it's like trying to get somebody for InvestFest. Like, if it happens, then that's great. But if not, then it can't be like, okay, well, if we don't get this person, then it's not going to happen. So the show must go on no matter what. So, you just keep going, regularly scheduled programming, keep, doing what you've been doing, targeting different people, staying in touch, following up, whatever. And then whenever the timing is right, then it'll happen. But I think sometimes people put too much emphasis. Like I said, they put all the eggs in one basket, and it's like it makes or breaks the situation, and that's dangerous because it's like if it doesn't happen, then everything's gonna fall apart. So Yeah, you can never rely on something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, you got to say be patient, and because I remember even with the 50 situation when we was at the office, I was like, no man, let's just pay him. No, he was like, let's wait. We do that for him, and then eventually it worked out, and probably it worked out. The introduction and routing was way better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know other people who paid for certain interviews and interviews didn't come out on time, or they looked a certain way. It's like
patience. Patience is a virtue.
Yes, long term.
But gotta have patience. That's important. That's important for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Very important.
Every day.
Yeah, and we still cooking.
And you got to stay disciplined. Like I was watching a clip on Shannon Sharp. He's on First Take today. He's talking about Browns quarterback, I think, or
Sean Watson.
Nah, who was he talking about? He was talking about Baker Mayfield.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
so he's balling.
So he was talking about Baker Mayfield, and he was saying that I guess Baker. I don't know the context of it, but I guess Baker Mayfield might have made a comment about like
he did
too stressful or something like that.
Oh, he said they asked him about his role coming to Tampa, and his thing was like to bring joy back to the organization. People didn't feel like they were having fun playing football. But Tom Brady had asked a question, and he was the old quarterback. So they were like, so Tom Brady responded with like, I didn't come to bring joy. I came to win championships.
Yeah. All the joy is in the winning.
Yeah. So that's what so Shannon Sharp was pretty much just saying, like, paraphrasing that yes, in order to win, you gotta be, disciplined. You gotta do the same things every day. You gotta hold people accountable. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a lot of people don't feel comfortable with. But that's what it takes. Like, that just everything. You got to do the same thing. It's like military. Like, you got to do the same thing every single day. You got to make sure that everybody knows their roles. You got to make sure that, if somebody makes a mistake, they're held accountable. There's consequences. Like in the military, if you make a mistake, there's consequences for you. You can't just say, oh, my bad, I made a mistake. Somebody might get killed. Yeah. So it's like if you miss an assignment or if you late or something, like you're going to get disciplined. Like you're going to get disciplined for it. And that discipline might come in physical discipline. It might come in, you got to run 6 miles with a 50-pound weight on your chest. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're going to make sure that, and if you do it too many times, you get kicked out or you get demoted or, and that's true with anything. Like, but I feel like when you start making excuses, it opens the doorway for negligence.
Yeah.
And you can never make negligence acceptable. Because once that happens, then you're not going to be able to maintain greatness. So that's important. Like that level of discipline, routine. Like I said, that's the best comparison I can really give is the military, because that's the highest level of discipline. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like you wake up at 5 o'clock. There's no waking up at 5:01. Like if we here at 5 o'clock, you're here at 5 o'clock. Yeah. It is no other. Or you go like I'm saying, like you're gonna face major consequences if you don't. And that's why, even formation, like if everybody moves to the right, you got to move to the right. Everybody moves to the left, you got to move to the left. Like one split second could be a life or death situation. That's why a lot of these guys go to like especially what's the military school in upstate New York?
West Point.
A lot of CEOs come from West Point. A lot of people go to West Point, don't even go to the military. Like West Point is a breeding ground for corporate CEOs. So they might do like 2 years, something like that. Yeah. West Point, but specifically West Point, because it's a very good educational school. I think Donald Trump went to West Point or something, one of these schools. But a lot of like there's presidents, people that are in high levels of politics, CEOs, because that level of discipline that they have, they continue. And no matter how you feel about these people, in order to reach high levels of success, it's not by accident. Like, you know what I mean? It's the relationships that you have, but it's also the self-discipline. It's the organizational skills. It's the people management. It's all of that stuff. So that's something that I think when Shannon was saying that, I was just like, yeah, no, that's a fact. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like in this day and age, everybody just gets participation awards, and it's like everybody's just meant to just feel comfortable. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings because you got to be politically correct, but that's not the Belichick way. Belichick wasn't like that. Like, you mean, like you got to be a certain way. Like all of these great sports coaches. That wasn't the Saban way.
Yeah.
Saban, you got to be on time. You got to be disciplined. That's not the Deion Sanders way. Deion Sanders, it looks like that because he's on social media, but he's a drill sergeant too.
Yeah, he's a very disciplined person.
It doesn't come across like that because it's social media, it's hip hop, it's rappers. He got a DJ in the locker room, but he's militant when it comes to being on time and doing this and doing that. So anybody that has had success, they know that's really the only way. That's the Kobe way. Yeah, that's the Mamba mentality.
I was gonna say, is it the only way? Because it feels like, and you probably appreciate this as an Indiana guy, but West Point, going back to the point about West Point, Robert Montgomery Knight, West Point coach. Coach is probably the greatest coach in college basketball history. Mike Krzyzewski, who was a student at West Point.
Yep.
That disciplinarian type style of coaching, do you see it matching with the new wave of athlete? I think Deion, yes, I think we've seen it, and obviously from all the recordings that he do, which I think is incredible, of actually documenting the process. Deion has a way of putting the players first, and they feel the love, so the discipline makes sense as to why they're getting it. But this Saban has now left. We already saw what happened about Krzyzewski's retired. Belichick couldn't get a job in the NFL. This is arguably the greatest coach that's ever lived.
After 30 years, though.
The greatest coach. He should
have been in Dallas. I'm not gonna lie.
He still wants to coach, and he couldn't get a job.
Who's winning championships? Andy Reid. Discipline.
Yeah.
He's from that era.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm saying
people that still winning are still the disciplinarians, like Miami culture. It's the reason why Miami's going to go to at least the conference finals every year, even if they don't have the best talent. Pat Riley has implemented discipline.
30 years is crazy.
That discipline in Miami. Everybody can't take the Miami discipline.
But it's a culture. It's a culture.
I do think
they haven't won.
There's a way to be kind, but I think routine leads to freedom. And I'll be very honest, I've had more fun in being disciplined than when I was undisciplined. This is the other side no one wants to talk about. Everyone that I see post that they're lit Friday through Sunday, Monday through Friday, they're living in hell because they're not walking in their purpose. We've had way more fun just on a casual, because why? We're living purpose. We make our kids proud, family proud, community proud. That makes it different. Even seeing you guys teach, you're like, I knew them. I was a teacher back in the day. They've always been like that matters. Now, do you have to? I was on campus when Bob and I got kicked off. So Bob was different, right? But I think the core of all success is routine. What is a GPT? It is something you can enter data and get a predictable model out of it every time with the same rules construct, right? Even when people ask us questions about investing, as much as we've done this show, it's not the way we're delivering it. It's maybe their personal discipline. So in order to get to the freedom that you want and the fun that you want, that's going to come inside of discipline.
Even if you look at hip hop as an example, people, it lends itself to a lifestyle that most people think is not disciplined. But the people that's reached the highest levels of success, you look at 50 Cent. He even said it.
Absolutely.
We move around militant. We train for some iller shit. This is somebody, no matter what. He said he was in the nightclub at 4 o'clock. He's still working out at 5 o'clock. Floyd Mayweather,
not smoking. Yep.
Floyd Mayweather, of course, his lifestyle is opulent, but he's going to be up at 12 o'clock at night running. I saw it with my own eyes. He's going to train. He's not going to miss a day of training. He's not. He's going to be in the club, but he's not going to be smoking. He's not going, But that's the difference between him and other fighters that tried to emulate his lifestyle. Because Adrian Broner, for instance, shout out to AB, but Adrian Broner tried to emulate Floyd Mayweather's lifestyle without the discipline. And you see what happened. So it's difficult. It's difficult to do it, but you could still live that life, have fun, and still maintain the discipline. And I feel like that's the people that's really successful. Even Jay, you don't really see him too much. Even for him not talking, that's a form of discipline.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because he can have plenty of opportunities. He even said it himself. I forgot what lyric. He was like, that takes discipline. I could lash out at you, but that takes discipline not to say anything. Same with Kendrick. Every single day somebody's attacking Kendrick, J. Cole. These people, it takes discipline to just stay off social media, to be quiet when people is talking about you and say everybody got an opinion, everybody's saying something about you. Like, I mean, but that's why Jay-Z is who Jay-Z is. Other people that didn't follow that same blueprint, that got a little sloppy with their interactions as far as how they talked, or it didn't work out for them, right? Like, you can see the people that fell off the discipline train or wasn't on the discipline train, look how their long-term trajectory worked out, as opposed to somebody like a Jay, somebody like, you know, a 50, who no matter what, even though they completely different people, they still stayed on their discipline train. Yeah. How has their career path worked out as opposed to the other people that you could tell that they have no discipline
and talent?
How you do one thing is how you do everything. But 50 said he's not the most talented. 50 said I'm not the most talented person.
He was, I don't know.
It's crazy to hear him say.
No, he's not he has a talent. Or
talent, but I'm saying
he said he's not the.
He said I'm not the most.
Yeah, I'm not the most talented. He's not
the most gifted.
Yeah.
That's why I have to work harder.
Exactly. I'm not saying, but if they have, like Floyd would be a prime example. Like, yes, he could be disciplined, but what separates him? Obviously, the discipline separates him from an AB, but his talent also.
But is Floyd the most talented? I don't think Floyd's the most talented.
I don't think so. I remember at one time when Arturo Gotti was hot. It was a lot of people.
Conor McGregor said it. Conor McGregor said, "Yo, he's not the fastest. He's not the strongest." He said, but he has composure. His which is discipline. He's like, yo, his composure is the reason why he won the fight. I don't think Floyd is
one of the most talented.
No, he's talented, of course. But I'm just saying, I don't think that he's just unbelievably out of this world. Like Mike Tyson was a perfect example. Mike Tyson was talent. He had a skill set to hit you as hard as anybody. But Mike Tyson,
young age,
Mike Tyson wasn't as disciplined as Floyd, and you can see. Shout out to Mike, no disrespect, but I'm just saying. His career, how his career played out is different from how Floyd's career played out, right? Because at some point in time, your talent's going to go away. Now, what do you have? Yeah. Right now, if you can't think properly, if you're not conditioned, if you don't have strategy, now your talent's only going to take you so far. Mike Tyson's talent took him until he met somebody better than him.
That's what I'm thinking to myself. Was he one of the most talented, or was he one of the most raw skilled? Right? Because when he fought Evander Holyfield, who was more talented, the boxing match wasn't
Holyfield,
Lennox Lewis. Like, these guys are more talented.
Post jail, though, right?
Post jail, yeah. But I mean, the guys, Mike is probably in my top 2.
Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, shout out to Mike.
Yeah, but even if, and I always say it, we have talent, but how many people have we passed up just by?
Oh, you work talent. Jadakiss said that talent means nothing if you don't work hard. Like,
facts.
Everybody has.
Another one. No one expected Jada to last this long, especially after the Bad Boy thing. And what's it like? Even when talk to him, every day.
You saw his son's analysis on his career? It's pretty interesting.
No, I see it.
They asked him who was his favorite artist, and he was like, outside of, he's like, my pops is great. He just naturally gifted. He can write 16s like it's nothing, but he's never crafted a great song. Like he'll put songs on albums, and I'd be like, why you that's messing up the whole album? But he just making it because
he's never crafted a great song.
No. This is what he's saying about his pops. No, I'm saying he's saying this about his pops. I'm like, this is crazy.
I was a smash.
He's saying this. Like, this is not me. Yeah, right? That's not my opinion. It's him. But then he brings up 50, and he's like, nah, 50's one of my favorites because he actually is gonna craft a song. He's
a one in a lifetime.
He's gonna put a hook together, and he's gonna make sure the beat, like, everything's gonna come together perfectly.
I mean,
and then 50's comment was like, "This kid's got a future."
Kid's a starter.
I mean, crafting great songs is relative. Commercial success, "Why" is a great song.
Yeah, commercial success. I think that's what he meant. He meant commercial success.
And if you love that No Way Out album, what he put pen to pad for him was.
I thought was it Kiss of Death? Kiss of Death is the first one. And then the second one,
Goodbye was the second one. Is that it?
Kiss the Game Goodbye is the first one. Kiss of Death is the second one. I thought that was a great body of work. By Your Side's on there.
Yeah. Like, Still Feel Me. Shout out to Kiss, man.
914.
The GOAT. Okay. So what are your thoughts on Meta and their push into hardware? I think we have a clip.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's play the clip, please.
Hey. Are live demos risky?
Live demos can be risky, yes.
But I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay. So what's your thoughts?
Zuckerberg.
Listen, man. When I saw he had the little custom T-shirt from Mike and Mary,
Yo,
I said, this boy's ready for war. Taking little shots at Apple, and it's the battle that because the ultimate combination is to have the hardware and software. This is the old Steve Jobs model. The Meta glasses I had maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they've gotten better. The AR stuff better. When Apple dropped the ball on the Vision Pro by pricing themselves out for most people, I think they're just doing a masterful job at a media company being a conglomerate while still being innovative. That tumble that they took in 2022, I do love the vigor back to discipline. Like, didn't he just win a gold medal or some shit for jiu-jitsu? Tore his knee 3 months ago. I remember when everybody at HQ was going crazy when he tore his knee, and then he won some BJJ tournament. I think at a time when Apple is not innovating on a fast enough rate on the hardware, because the software is actually pretty good, they're not innovating fast enough. He's doing an amazing job of picking up the slack of doing incredibly well on the hardware. I don't know how popular the glasses will be. But I do think that I love the fact that he's trying to be innovative and bridging that, IG updates are getting better. WhatsApp is making some slight improvements. So we got to give him full credit for developing and innovating at a time when he can be very conservative.
Yeah, he's become a likable CEO.
Yes.
We've completely forgotten about the metaverse. Like completely. Like, do you remember when he was debuting the metaverse? And it was like his face
looked like Nintendo Wii.
It meets Roblox, and like that was a moment in time. And now it's like this guy's everywhere. He's challenging Elon to fights. He's front row at UFC fights, like calling shots. Like he's outside. And he's become a likable CEO. Yeah, and the product it has gotten better. Shout out to Meta Elevate. They were at this year's investment, and we got to wear the glasses and walk around so that people can see it and clip it up. Brilliant. I was just looking like this is great for somebody that's trying to engage. But I was talking to Shell, shout out to Shell, our security, and he was like, I like to wear these because I'll do walkthrough with these glasses, and when I come back to the team to meet, they can't make a mistake because they're seeing everything.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Super easy to use,
pretty innovative. And now that they announced a new Oculus, which is they made sure that the price point was very, very, very glaring from the Vision Pro that Apple had put out. And some of the previews for it looks incredible. Like the NBA preview that they had, where we've talked about it. Like it's cool to be at the game, but imagine if you sat at the couch and like you was having the view of being at the game, and they're right there at the cusp of it. I think Vision Pro did a great job with the MLS to do it. But they haven't gotten through with the NFL and the NBA yet. Which, I mean, at some point, I'm sure they'll figure it out. But Meta's done it at a cheaper price point, man. Kudos. He's on a hot street. Like I said, he's become a likable CEO from a guy who was perceived to be. Who is he? He's in his books. He's
almost a villain character.
No personality. Yeah, he's in front of the DOJ every other month, and now it's like he's the guy.
Yeah, now he can breathe. And another person that moves GDP.
Yeah, man built a statue of his wife in his backyard.
That's different, y'all. That's different. I'm on Loverboy vibes, but I ain't got that yet. I said a marble statue.
What?
Hey, Kelsey, whoever who did Mark Zuckerberg curls, when like this next game over, you need to go over there because your performance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, shout out to Trav, man.
Go get that bevel, but I know you got a bevel somewhere. Go use it.
Also, the thing with the translating, that's going to be big. Translating. Commentary in different languages. So it's going to allow creators to actually make content, and we make a video talking about stocks, right? For instance, and now everybody knows that. The Latino community in America is huge, and facts. That's really an untapped market in a sense. So it's like, all right, when we start translating this into Spanish, now
great point.
That services millions of people from a language barrier who might not be able to fully understand or grasp things because they're still learning English maybe, or they don't even speak English. There's people that don't speak English at all. You go to Miami, New York City, LA, you go to a lot of these different places, you're going to meet a lot of people that do not speak English. We can go uptown right now. We can go Dykeman. We can run into people that do not speak English at all.
Yeah.
At all. Like I said, I went to Miami. I went to a CVS one time in Little Havana.
Yeah, Havana. Yeah.
Nobody in the CVS workers, none of the workers spoke English. Nobody. So it's like, I mean, it's a real thing. Spanish, man, it's a very important language to know. So now Meta is going to allow you to actually, through AI, it's going to change the language modules to whatever language you want to do. So for creators, that's going to be able to, you're going to be able to tap into different markets all over the world. That's going to be big.
In your own voice too.
Yeah. I was bloody in Mexico before. Maestro de Mercado, you? See me, amigo. Yeah. And wait till y'all IP gets stolen in Spanish languages and y'all can't do nothing about it. Oh, I can't wait.
Once you cross over Latin merengue, it's over. Then it's over.
It's over with.
It's over.
Yeah. Offset, hold your head.
Offset, hold your head.
Yo, Paris is Paris is a dangerous place, and if they're going to see PSG, you're in trouble.
Nah, peace to that brother though. Offset, man, good dude.
We're gonna talk on Blackout. Good dude, bro.
We ran into Miami. Actually, last year, I think.
Last year, yeah.
Good brother for sure. Everybody has relationship issues every once in a while.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, watching it get played out in public is tough.
That's nasty.
Tough. Yeah, text messages being released. It's private, man. Let's keep some things private.
Yeah. Okay.
Have a classy one, San Diego.
But yeah, Spanish, man. It's the Spanish wave. Y'all keep playing around when we go full blown Telemundo.
I have been telling y'all, hey, why you go to Mexico? So I'm like, y'all can't copy this.
Adios, mi amigo.
Adios.
Hit you up with these last two and split. At least
for real.
Nothing but my influence and it's almost over. Palo Alto. Where do you see this landing in 3 years, price wise?
I thought this is a great question. Part of me wants to gatekeep and keep in the stock club, but I don't know if the price in 3 years will matter if companies are going to give it a better return. But I have it at 610, possibly. If we stay at the same kind of clip and the profit margin remains as high. Am I 100% certain that it'll get there? No, it's a lot of factors that come into play. But I wonder at some point if cybersecurity will be taken over by another player in a couple of years. That's my only fear. In 2 or 3 years, if Microsoft or I don't know, Nvidia and Starlink. Like if I was a cybersecurity company, I would be more worried about Starlink than what they currently are. So, but 610 is the price that I have that it could get to in 3 years for those of you who are long on that company.
610. That's 80+%.
Yeah.
It's not a bad investment. Would we the consensus top 3 in that space you would say are Crowd?
Yep.
Them? Palantir?
Yeah. But if I'm the CEO of Microsoft or Starlink, Apple and Meta won't do anything in partnership. If Microsoft doesn't go heavy into healthcare, is it an easier transition to move heavier into cybersecurity with partnership with Nvidia? My number one thought as investors, like who can beat me in that race? So I wonder if at some point, because I don't think anyone thought that Microsoft would have this stranglehold in AI. And it did so very quietly. So if cybersecurity is worth its weight in gold, how everyone tries to make it out to be, I wonder if when we get into 27 or 28, when they finally announce the real numbers and we hit like a little rough spot, if they'll push into cybersecurity, because that will really make their ecosystem impenetrable at that point. And if they do, they'll for sure take the number 1 spot and knock Apple to a permanent number 2 or number 3. What do I know? I'm just a guy on YouTube talking shit in Mexico or the Philippines. Shout out to Russell Simmons.
Or Thailand.
Or Thailand, whoever.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them.
Yeah, man. Extradition. And Eric Adams, they indicted him. I told y'all last week.
I didn't want to bring it up, but man, you had the crystal ball.
It's one of these.
What do you think?
Well, we can talk about it on Blackout if you want.
Yes.
A more uncensored take.
In all fairness, I'm with that.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna do what they say. The platform is not too big for such foolishness. You're right. Cool.
Yeah, indictments are never good. Indictments are never good.
Crazy times that we're in.
Yeah,
crazy times that we're in.
New York, we all we got.
How much they pay for them garbage cans again? That's not good. I said, oh god.
Oh, I don't know.
No. That's 50 a mace. Spider look. I don't know.
I don't know.
Got you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What competitive advantages do companies outside of tech have for long-term holding?
I think anything in the healthcare space. Of course, the GLP-1 drugs have a huge competitive advantage. I'm wondering if they can use some of the GLP technology that mitigated or lessened, I should say, the cravings, and if they can go into the addiction space and reduce the desire for whatever drugs are being used, if they can develop that in the next couple of years. So I think healthcare is amazing. I know everyone's looking for outsized returns, but I really think outside of conglomerates, tech, healthcare is what you should invest in. And Starlink is kind of 101. Whenever that's public, I have to still see the numbers. I need to see what the operating margins in, but for the category that they have, they own, like they literally could be a global internet company provider. We don't have one of those. So healthcare companies that are close to being a monopoly, I think, are incredibly important. And then I'm still looking for another company in that beauty space that we talked about last week that may get a competitive advantage that other people cannot replicate. Also, I'm not the biggest fan of Spotify per se, because Apple's the number one competitor. But let's say if the music business goes through a restructuring, but they own an offshore asset, quote unquote, because it is in another country, and they get 25% of that. Isn't that an amazing hedge as all these indictments coming out in the music industry? Like, I've never seen something be so well played. So, but once again, the platform has gotten too big for foolishness. So,
but what do you think about industrials in the terms of these companies? Obviously, when we look at government funding, we know that there's infrastructure bills that are being passed, billions of dollars, not trillions, but billions of dollars. It's going to get spent.
Yep.
We have to build more, right? And we're talking about housing and everybody. It's affordable. That's not going anywhere. That topic is anywhere. Industrials, waste management.
Waste management is a company I love. Caterpillar.
That's
if they talking out a plan for what they were going to do with the capital, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, the Honeywells of the world, Caterpillar, like these companies, they're gonna be here.
Absolutely, and they've been incredibly well run. And there's a lot of companies like that are Ecolab is another one that are quiet companies that are real businesses. So, homework assignment, I would have you guys go look at Honeywell, Caterpillar, John Deere, Walmart, to see which companies are going to do incredibly well.
WM, put that on there too, y'all.
Have to, like, that are going to do well regardless of recession, inflation, quantitative easing or not. There's some companies that do well. So industrials, is a real category and real business for sure.
It's one of those sectors where it doesn't matter. It's needed. It's going to be needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Alibaba's on fire. And if the IPO market opens up in China and there's a little bit more discourse between the new president and Xi Jinping, China will be investable again. I'm looking to see what Shein will do if they IPO. And Alibaba's been moving, but
China had a good day today.
Yeah, had a good day.
Stimulus,
quantitative easing, word of the day. Word of the day.
So Palantir, back to Palantir. It's currently overvalued, but do you believe its software will continue to disrupt the landscape and provide positive returns?
Yeah, despite me not being in love with the model, you can't argue that it's not innovative. Like if you can take, I mean, it's like Blackwater's wet dream to be able to do this, and then also have like public support. I've never had this many Black and brown people be upset with me over talking bad about a company. And I get gains are important, but are gains more important than us being sovereign? Then I can argue, do we even really want to be sovereign? But innovative? Hell yeah. I've always said Peter's one of the best advisors in that tech space, and to see what he's turned this company into and made his own moat, I don't think you can deny their impact in the landscape. Is it overvalued? Yes, but it'll come back to a good price where it'll be okay. For those of you who got in at 6 or 8 or 4, whenever you got in, continue to hold. But it's just the moral stuff that bothers me. So, and to the person who said, how can you have a moral compass for this company when you guys took money from Diddy? We didn't take money from Diddy. I didn't take money from Diddy. But Diddy never killed hundreds of thousands of people in war. Some of you motherfuckers never been out the country and never seen civil unrest anywhere, to not know what this like, or have friends or family in other countries when some of this stuff is going down. So you can't be pro XYZ and then pro Palantir too. You got to pick one. But once again, what do I know?
There you have it.
Choose wisely.
There you have it.
Choose wisely.
There you have it.
Yeah.
APH. What's the deal with that stock?
I think this is a slept on company that a lot of people, and shout out to the person for this question. It's too high to want to invest right now. It's had an amazing tear since 2012 when it was like at $14. I will put APH on a watch list for sure. It's too high, too overvalued right now to buy, but I will put it on your watch list. And if it dips, I'll put a price for us in Stock Club for sure.
All right, here's what they do. This might sound redundant, but APH is a major global supplier of advanced interconnective sensors and antenna solutions, making it well positioned to benefit from the AI wave and increasing demand for, guess what? Data centers.
Yep.
Right. So as the rate of data centers expand, they need to have connectivity inside, which we said is just vital to making sure that these computers, these chips, these GPUs work. This is one of those companies. Yep. And that ecosystem. There's a few more. I'm actually putting a whole diagram together, which I will show at a later date. But yeah, this is part of that ecosystem inside of data centers. Good call.
And there you have it. No, I'm joking.
So, okay. How did investing help you become a better trader?
I think because I started trading first. So when you trade first, you only look at the positive returns that can be expected without getting a full macro picture of the company or economy. I think once you know where the economy is going, it's a lot easier to be able to catch the right direction of the trade. And I'm going to be super honest. Most traders that don't invest long term never keep money for a long period of time, because you're always going counter to the direction of the market. So people would ask, like, well, are you a bearish trader or are you a bullish trader? I know right there, you aren't long-term investing. If you're trading the S&P 500 future or NASDAQ future, 70% of your trade should be long, because the asset class that is the underlying asset goes up over time. So you may have more returns in a short period where the S&P or NASDAQ is dropping, but majority of the time, especially if you're swing trading, you should be going long. So I don't think if you know how to, if you are a great trader, and I know they say, well, Par Twitter has a great long-term personal investing track record. So there's not many people that can just enter day trade well and they don't understand what the global macro picture is. I think you have to be able to see the entire field and what's happening to be able to get an edge in the market. And that's also what I learned too. Like if you have a few good trades per week or per month. Let the long-term portfolio do the rest of the work for you, opposed to trying to churn money out of the market every single day. Like same with you guys. You guys knew broadcasting will work. There was a model there before, but maybe not for us. Okay, great. You looked at the media landscape and figured out where you can be in that. There's a reason why you upload it on YouTube and not Twitter as a primary platform. So I think knowing what the macro trend is matters more than anything in your long-term trades.
What about MCK?
It's a great question. McKesson's a great company, but I don't think it's better than a lot of the ones we talked about. I mean, Troy's brought up Micron. We've given you guys trades in long-term investments, Nvidia, AMD, Apple, even Tesla, even though they've had issues. I don't think if they're not top 3 in their space, I would not want to invest there. Right now. Can you get return? Yes. But everyone put in chat, invest in the ones that are going to dominate the decade. McKesson's on nobody's leaderboard to dominate from 25 to 2030. Not one company. Is it better than Lilly? Is it better than Starlink? Is it better than OpenAI? I can argue it's not even better than Spotify. Great company. If we're just talking a pure return on investment basis, though, I wouldn't. And my thing is always, would I put my life savings on that company? No. Great company, but no.
Yeah.
So,
is it fundamentally essential? If we're picking, right? So if we're talking about people that are trading, you said 8 times, maybe a month. Some people are paper trading even fewer. Does it fit the criteria of better than the 7 companies or 8 companies that we've spoken about? I don't know if it fits the criteria. I don't know if it's the fundamentally essential company.
Yep. And then the one thing I would compare that I should bring up more is year-over-year drawdown. Their drawdown isn't better than Meta's. What's a safer place to put your money? Even if you put your money in at the top of the market on Meta, top of the market here, they went to 617. They're currently at 490. You put $100,000 in, you're crying right now. So put it in chat. Investing's not that hard, man. Just invest in the top 2 in that space, top 10 overall, rinse and repeat.
What about some beverage companies?
I thought this was a great question. So if I had to look between Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Keurig, Dr. Pepper, Vita Coco, and Celsius, I think Pepsi would be number 1 for me. Keurig, Dr. Pepper will be 2. Coca-Cola will be 3rd. Celsius will be 4th, and Vita Water or Vita Coco will be 5th. I think Pepsi's done an amazing job over the last 5 or 6 years. I know Coca-Cola is tried and true, but the Keurig Dr. Pepper partnership has been incredibly strong, and the returns have been great. Celsius had a bang, no pun intended. It's falling apart a little bit. but once again, safety. Like, I want you guys to think, like, even if you don't have it, if you had $1 million, 10 million, 100 million, what would you park the money and not have ulcers at night? The more risk you keep off the table, the better your money's going to do, and you're going to find other opportunities to be able to reinvest that capital. So yeah, Pepsi 1, Keurig 2, Coca-Cola 3rd, Celsius 4th, Vita Coco will be 5th.
If we follow the greatest investor that's ever lived, his order might be different.
Of course. I mean, also timing of when.
And that's what I want to go. That's why I was going there, right? Like, Coca-Cola obviously is, he has $28 billion sitting there inside of Coca-Cola, but the time of when he invested to present day changes. Here's an interesting point, and I want to get both of your thoughts on it. I was listening to some analysts, doing a little bit of research. Healthcare obviously is a major technology inside of that is going to be a major factor in the future. When we're talking about Novo, and obviously you saw them on Capitol Hill with the price of the drugs coming down for weight loss. Yeah. Novo, we talk about Lilly, weight loss drugs. They're starting to see a decline in snack foods. And so when I wonder what you think the role that will play in the business for Coca-Cola, where a lot of it is coming not just from the drinks, but some of the other things it owns, Pepsi, some of the other brands that it owns. What do you think about the role that the weight loss drugs will have on, I guess, the junk economy?
They're going to have a big impact. And I think we're going to see maybe Pepsi first, because they've had a greater tendency to do so, to scale younger and aim at kids, because the kids can't take the GLP. So the arbitrage is to target the kids from 4 years old to maybe 13, 14 and try and get your returns there. But it has had an impact on fast casual and snacking. And yes, Warren will have a different outlook, but based on timing. I don't want to speak on Warren's business. I'll wait till he passes. But people don't remember that he was part of the reason why Vicente Fox ended up being president here in Mexico. So if I had a company and I had influence over a person becoming president over which they own, well, for the private water, they own 80% of the public waterways and 90% of the private. And most of the sodas and water are provided through Coca-Cola. It would be a great investment. Vicente hasn't been there for a while. So even though Coca-Cola does still have a stranglehold here in this amazing country. So, but I think the Indian CEO at Pepsi has done a better job now. So I think he probably would recalibrate based on that. But do I think it'll have an impact on the snacking industry? Yeah. But I think Pepsi will probably skew younger as a result. Shout out to Warren, shout out to Vicente Fox. Viva la raza.
Shout out to the Oracle of Omaha.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's some sectors that young people, Gen Z, can look to invest in to build wealth that's not quantum computing or AI?
OnlyFans? No, I'm joking.
It's your only route.
I will say media for one. YouTube, the whole creator economy, it gets talked about a lot, but I don't think people look at Google enough as a power player there. Them and Meta, I think that's a great index to invest in. Industrials, we just talked about, and healthcare. That's it. There's not that many. This is the part that makes it, because we have like a lot of consolidation in this era in comparison to what we may have had maybe 10 or 15 years ago. There's not that many great sectors to invest in, like the Russell 2000, not giving the greatest return. So healthcare, media, specifically Meta and YouTube, and the healthcare space.
What about financials? Top two in financials. Let's just say JP, as interest rates come down, lower interest rate environments obviously help financials. If they're thinking about getting into that sector current day, knowing that interest rates are going to be cut from all projections over the next 6 to 12 months a few times.
Yeah.
What's around that?
JP, Vanguard, and BlackRock. I think are the only three you can invest in. Shout out to BlackRock. I'll say it again.
I got
Vanguard. Yeah. But those three are, I think, the only ones that are going to move the needle and have a competitive advantage no one can disrupt. Mid-sized banks done for.
No. Those are the three that, if you're talking about moving needle, those are the three.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about strategies to not spend money after you've made money as a trader or in the stock market?
That's a great question. I think this is more mental. I think you have to choose to not want to blow your money. And then a lot of it is like healing from trauma. So like if you grew up not having certain things when you become an adult, you may want to buy them. Or I know it was a big thing for even us as a community up to maybe 5 years ago. If like we felt like we were treated poorly in a store, we would go buy more to show that we had the money. But I think a lot of that has to deal. And it's like, why are you doing that for a person who's working at the store and they can't afford the stuff in the store? Trauma. So, but I think if you've ever been broke, that should be motivation enough. I even have my friends like, well, why don't you buy this, about that? I'm like, having the cash either sitting or working for me is a lot better than having the thing knowing that I won't get any value out of it. Cool. It may look cool. It'd be cool to put on a gram for 2 or 3 days and get 10,000 likes, but was it worth the 200,000 or 300,000? That no, I'm cool. freedom is a much better choice. So psychologically, I think you have to just say, hey, freedom to me is more important than having a bunch of items that look good. And then I think it's really important before you get the money, you have to write the plan for what you're going to do. So for me, my North Star was to be able to go where I wanted, to have freedom to say what I want. That's above all. To say no, that's more important. So I think you have to know what your North Star is. But after you get the money, have that plan in place. A lot of this is psychology and choice. And going back to that discipline part, it's hard every day not to wake up and I'll see somebody, that'd be nice to add to the collection. Or nope. Nope. Do I have 5 years tucked away? That if 5 years get bad, I'm good. That matters way more.
So how this is interesting because I've been asked this before. How do I not treat my brokerage account like a savings account? Right? Like if I take profit, do I leave it in my brokerage account or am I making monthly withdrawals of any profit inside of that brokerage account? Or do I don't touch it at all?
Yeah, the brokerage account you can't touch. Because that's where you're going to build a FU money. Like if you're a trader, try and live off that money. But living off the brokerage money, sacrifice. This goes back to the discipline part. And you can say that we're too tough or too strenuous, but we've seen a lot of people in the last year or 2 years have a great business that was hella flashy. Things have tightened up and now they're going to make adjustments for other careers. You should have just put the money away for 3 years. Now you want to blow up my phone. Rashad, Ian won't text me back. I told you the video too fucking. Shut up. I want to talk.
I think the mindset too has to be the mindset for investing like a brokerage account is that in your lifetime you're never going to take the money.
Yes.
So okay, that goes against like what most people would think makes sense because it's like, what's the point of investing if I'm never going to take the money? So once again, this goes back to discipline, military strategy, stuff like that. It's like art of war. You got to have money to win a war, right? So it's like when these countries, America, all of the resources, reserves, gold, whatever, everything's stockpiled. It's not like then in order. You gotta have power, and only way you really have power is through having reserves. You gotta have the reserves. Absolutely. Not necessarily for you to ever really spend. So the goal is to grow that to a point, and then hopefully you're still making money. So if you're making money, you put a portion of that into the market, then you put a portion of that when you're actually living off of, and the market is just growing and growing and growing. And then of course, if you need to use it at some point, you can, but the mindset is that you're not looking at it like you're ever really going to take the money out.
Yep.
And that's really how you really build wealth, because you invest money and then that keeps you disciplined too. Because if you look at it like you don't even have the money because it's not an option to take the money out, then your spending habits are going to be different. If you're looking at it like, okay, I got $1 million saved and now I want to buy a house and I got to put $500,000 down to buy the house, but I only have $100,000 in my bank account, then you're going to liquidate $400,000 from your brokerage account. And then you're going, but if you're looking at it like, I only have $100,000 in my bank account, then you're going to buy a house that requires you to put $100,000 down.
Yep.
Or 20,000.
Yeah. I'm just saying you're going to live up to that.
Exactly. Limitations. Yep.
Really how you looking at it, you should never want to sell any stock, because the longer you keep it in it, the more money you have. And like I said, just having that is power. Like having the money is power. Like, you know, most of these guys, they're never going to spend most of the money. Most rich people are never going to spend the money that they have.
Yes, it's impossible.
That's just the reality of it. Then people were like, well, then that's wasteful, because why you got money if you're never going to spend it? Well,
for freedom.
That exactly. It's all subjective anyway. It's not like we're hoarding gold. I mean, who knows? It might not be worth anything 50 years anyway. But as long as it's still worth something, your freedom is dictated by how much money you have access to. And that's just a fact.
It makes a world of difference. Any decision, like any big purchase, I'll sit on for like 35, 40 days anyway. I may keep it in a little shopping cart. I'll come back and see. Like, even in business, I don't think most of you should be taking draws from that every month. Like, I wanted a Red Panda account. I haven't spent any money out of one of them accounts in 6 years. Helps. It helps just to have multiple streams and then just sit on them and let them stack. Does it take discipline? Yes. Is there some days I want to go out with Xander, buy Rolls Royce, and we play bumper cars with Rolls Royce? Absolutely. But to have his college paid off and then his mom not worried and my mom and dad not worried, way better feeling. Now, maybe one day if I need some content king creation, maybe one day me and Xander will. And we'll get Nas in there. We'll just ruin cars on Instagram with it. But
the bumper car play.
Yeah, but put the money away and it be free and clear is a lot better. It's a lot better, man.
Yeah, because you see people they're in options and they're in futures and they're making money monthly and they're making it weekly. It's like great. But now when we talk about having money on the sideline, that's the sideline. Right? The return that you've got, great, as profit. That's your sideline. There's going to be opportunities to reinvest.
Invest in other things.
Yeah.
It got to be disciplined.
It's a learn habit for sure.
And I'm not going to say it's not tough, but like the more you do it, and the thing I'm going to be honest that has motivated me to even do it more was seeing all the business owners that was doing incredibly well. They balled out for 6 months and now it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, the algorithm changes for everybody, like just like it does on YouTube and cool. And even in trading, I tell people all the time, you have a 4 or 5 hot month streak and then you can go cold for 5 months. What are you going to do if you got 2 G-Wagons in private school and you got 2 mortgages? They still want their money.
Yeah. I mean, it's too, if you trade for a living and that's your source of income, then of course you take money because that's your job. But most people are not trading for a living.
Yeah.
Most people are investing and they actually have a business or they're working as far as income. So the two go together, like how you receive income and then how you invest income. Most of the time, they're not the same. They're not the same. They're not one and the same. So you got to focus on 2 things simultaneously. And that's why, like I said, the longer you can go without taking them, it's like real estate. The longer you can go without selling a home, the more beneficial it's going to be for you. I mean, if you sold, a house in 1950, you might have got, $3,000 for that house, right? And in that time, that was good money. But if you never sold it, that same house today probably worth $1 million, $1.2 million.
Yeah.
Right. So the real power is just having it. Now, having assets allows you to get more money. You can get bank loans. You can borrow off the equity. You can, it's going to allow you some level of flexibility. But yeah, if you go into the mindset that you're never going to sell, that's going to be helpful, as opposed to going in and thinking that as soon as I need money, this is going to be my checking account.
Yeah, because if you use it like that, there's going to be an emergency too big that you can't replace. Even this weekend, there was a report like Houston's one of the last affordable cities to 5 cities that are affordable. And I'm like, 10 years ago, that was 20 cities. So like, that's why I say, as you get the money, Mercedes, LVMH, BMW, they're going to find a way to get the business consultants, social media ad. Everybody has a ploy for you to make money or take money from you. Not many are going to give you a return. It's much better like to be free and clear and not have any stress. You can glow like Troy and Rashad. You see how they glowing?
Thank you. Got a new skin routine. Thanks.
Hey. You using double moisturizer or single? What you doing?
Just natural fruits and berries.
Yeah. Gatekeeper. Fellas, it makes a difference. We talk about it on Blackout. Take care of yourself, yo.
It's a fact. Got to.
She'll take care of you if you take care of yourself.
That's a fact. Fact. All right. Well,
it's been real, y'all.
Trevor Shaw got to go interview Jerry Jones or somebody. So
we're getting closer to Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Jerry, bro.
Yeah, for real.
It's been real.
Yo, picked up Belichick for real. I was looking. I'm like, where he go?
I want to give a shout out. Shout out to Pinky Cole. Shout out to Derek. I saw, every month or so, I know Pinky does like a group economics to help small businesses stay alive. Yeah, I just saw that the one that they just did. I think it's Just Move Supplements, something like that. And they raised like 170,000 in like 2 days. Shout out to Pinky, just that bridging community together and watching people support each other. I thought was dope. And so I want to give them a huge shout out and shout out to the young lady whose business it helped. But now let's make sure that it can be sustainable. Because we see too many of our businesses. We start them, they flounder, and then we never hear from the people again. So for her to use her platform to highlight that, shout out to her. I want to give her a huge shout out on this platform.
Yes, amazing. Shout out to Pinky.
Yeah,
sure. All right. Okay.
And rest in peace to that kid who got dunked on in that 1-on-1 tournament.
Chill.
I said, wait, I thought he was gonna lay the ball up. I said, what?
That's a fact. Clash TV. Download the app. We got some big news coming for street ball. Really revolutionizing street ball, for a long time. Street ball, the Clash TV thing is cool because it's a tech platform that allows you to actually see the games on an app. Yep. So a lot of times, like, people just heard about like Rucker, they was hearing about these tournaments that they didn't really. So now you can actually see it in real time, and they're working on some cool stuff. Shout out to Chris Gotti, the legendary Chris Gotti.
Legendary,
funny
legendary,
funny guy.
Gotti, I would have been out there, but I went back home early. I wasn't playing you.
That was dope. Yeah, he was supposed to come to that. Oh, he had to head out of town. But Tracy McGrady came through. Jalen.
Shout out to Jalen.
But yeah, shout out to Gotti, man.
Yeah.
Opinionated.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What y'all looking like this year?
No,
they just traded.
They said they can't talk about
Julius
it yet.
Randle.
That's
they can't
crazy.
talk about it. It's not done yet. But that's a Tibbs back with Karl Anthony Towns.
Mistake.
You think it's a mistake?
Mistake.
Well, I think Jalen Brunson and Randall was like they wasn't getting along,
and they lost DiVincenzo in it.
That was his dog. Like, oh man,
yeah. I like DiVincenzo. Good player.
The Nova Knicks, they break it up.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Y'all breaking up the squad.
No, they added one and they lost one.
The Nova Knicks.
Who has more heart between Cat and Julius?
Oh, I'm taking Julius. He's a dog, but his game is ISO ball for a big game.
He played with Kobe.
Yeah.
Well, he learned a lot from playing with him.
Yeah.
On how to be a professional.
Yeah. Y'all like Julius a lot. Shout out to Cat too.
That team was crazy. Like, when you look back at that team, it was Julius Randle, Lonzo, who Chicago fans, he's gonna be playing this year. Brandon Ingram was on that team. They had young talent.
Had some talent.
Yeah, they all went off.
I think they would have made a deeper run too.
Yeah, and they just the stories about how he used to just like drill sergeant with them, but he understood what it takes to be great, and being young in the NBA and having expectations what comes with that. So
shout out to Toronto. We're gonna be up there in a couple weeks for the M2M conference.
Shout out to our guys.
Shout out to the family out there.
Guys.
Twee, Dan, what up?
Toronto. That boy Top 5 just beat the case. He's going crazy right now.
Yo,
He's going crazy.
That was a real video
Of the Kendrick Lamar thing?
Nah, they caught him in the
Sprinter?
Before the Sprinter, they caught him at like a fast food restaurant and chased him out of there.
Who caught him? Who chased him out of there?
Some random dudes.
They chased him out of there?
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't see
Mistake.
that.
Mistake.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, what? Why?
Top 5 TV Gucci. Okay. Huh? Y'all let him get away? Oh,
why are we doing this? Why are we doing? Or allegedly they did. Allegedly,
I
I
ain't
should
see
say.
that.
Prince Vaughn.
I ain't see that, man. What,
he said he doing a podcast with the boy.
They said they're gonna be looking at the video to see who was in that.
Yeah. That's what I seen that, Joe. Elliot, you was in that video?
Chasing go wrong. Hey.
Chasing go wrong. Shout out to Toronto, man. Oh man.
Great city. Beautiful people.
Brampton.
Yeah.
Big facts.
Yeah,
Scarborough.
Shout out to the 6.
Yes,
we coming home. We coming home.
We y'all going 3 weeks? Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, I think October 16th, something like that.
Roz, what's going on?
19th, October 19th.
Yeah.
P, what up?
It'd be cold, man. I've been trying to dinner vibe. It'd be cold out there. October, November. Oh.
No, we gonna be good.
October's very own.
Yeah.
We might have a concert. What's his birthday? When's Drake's birthday?
Randomly, I think it's like the 23rd.
October's very own.
Okay.
Shout out to OVO. The OVO family.
We talk about Blackout Future snatch somebody else, girl. Grim Reaper, y'all.
Oh no, they tracked her down.
Who is she?
I'll give you the deets after.
Yeah.
But yeah, model.
Yeah, the model for a year and a half.
She's Nigerian. She's like a few things. But yeah, they tracked her down right away.
Yeah.
Shout out to Future though. 3rd #1 album in the year. I
Sensation.
don't think that's ever been done before. Pluto. The Pluto mixtape.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right, love y'all.
Blackout on Wednesday, and don't forget Thursday we got X at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about artificial intelligence. This is going to be teaching you about artificial intelligence. We're going to be answering questions live. Very important.
Yeah, make sure y'all there.